Fernando Tatis Jr., I know we don't talk about baseball a lot on the show, but he had a massive contract delivered to him. He got paid a whole lot of pay. Big payday for Fernando Tatis Jr. last week. He got paid or signed to a 14-year, $340 million contract. That is the largest that is the third largest contract in the history of the Major League Baseball. The other two, if you want to take guesses at home, were Mookie Betts with the Dodgers and then Mike Trout with the Angels. So third largest contract in team history. What does this mean for San Diego? And what does this mean for Fernando Tatis Jr.? Tatis Jr. really has the potential to be the face of the league very, very soon. I mean, I think that crown is still held by Mike Trout. It'll be held by Mike Trout for years to come. But the reality is that Fernando Tatis Jr. is only 22, and he's still playing some of the most consistent and powerful baseball, especially at the shortstop position in the major leagues at the moment here. And really what the Padres are doing with this deal is they're solidifying themselves with Fernando Tatis Jr. as he ascends into his prime. And that's a scary thought to think about, is that Tatis Jr., apart from when he was injured early on, he's been playing so well and so consistently, and he's only 22, that you're locking up pretty much every single year into his prime and then beyond that, because everybody is so fascinated with the big numbers. I remember when Giancarlo Stanton got a gigantic deal with the Marlins, something ridiculous like 13 years, however many hundred millions of dollars, and to anybody besides the casual baseball fan, these contracts obviously are not built to endure that type of length. I mean, very rarely do those contracts ever see, the end of the book. Those players are either cut or traded at that point. But what it really does is it's comfort for the franchise that is signing him. And this is really the cool thing about money in baseball, is that money can just that number can pretty much be whatever it want. It allows the franchise to be comfortable in their centerpieces and allows them to bring in other pieces. And that's really what the Padres are doing here with Fernando Tatis Jr., along with Manny Machado, with a lot of other pieces that they brought in over a couple of years. The Padres have been slowly but surely getting more and more invested in their baseball team. They have one of the better farm systems in the MLB. Some would argue the best farm system in the MLB currently, although the more that they trade away players, the more that they, maneuver their prospects a little bit, it seems like they're kind of falling out of that a little bit. I have a friend who's a gigantic Padres fan, and I can tell you that he is extremely excited about what the Padres are doing. But really, what the Padres are doing is that they're securing the prime years of Fernando Tatis Jr. with this gigantic contract. And again, the contracts are not built to last all the way through. It's supposed to be a big number. It's supposed to add security to what the Padres want to build. And realistically speaking, with this signing of Fernando Tatis Jr. and securing the prime years of Tatis Jr., the Padres have almost guaranteed themselves at least a couple of World Series appearances, if not a World Series pendant at some point. It's hard to think that the Padres won't win at some point. I can really see a rivalry brewing between the Dodgers and the Padres, where obviously the Dodgers are always good. They won the World Series, and the Padres are the team on the rise that's going to start battling in division for that crown with the Dodgers. Very, very Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees from circa like 2004, 2005, etc., etc. I can see that being this decade's rivalry from years to come, especially with the signing of Tatis Jr. And so, it's hard to say whether or not, the Padres will win multiple World Series, but I think that's really what this contract extension is. It's pushing all the chips into the middle of the table for the Padres. The Padres have had made big purchases before. This is their biggest purchase yet. Again, the third largest contract in MLB history. And the Padres are just putting stock in the fact that they think Tatis Jr. is not only going to be the face of the league for years to come after Mike Trout starts to dwell off, that he's not only going to be one of the best shortstops in the game, he's going to be one of the best shortstops in history. And again, I think Francisco Lindor is probably the best all-around shortstop at this point in the league, but when it comes to pure hitting at the shortstop position, I think Tatis Jr. takes that crown. Again, it'll The good thing about a 14-year contract is it takes injury into account. It locks up all the prime years of the player, and it adds security to the franchise with that massive contract, with that massive number. Again, and I've said it a couple times, everybody wants to focus on the 14 years, and everybody knows that I would be very surprised if Tatis Jr. spends all 14 of those contract years in San Diego. But that's the way that these baseball deals are done. The numbers are big. There's no salary cap in baseball, so you can do pretty much you can spend as much money as you want, apart from all those taxes that you're going to have to pay. But regardless, great for the Padres, great for Tatis Jr. I think he's probably one of the most exciting young players in the game, kind of like Soto in Washington, and as well as Acuna Jr. in Atlanta, Vladimir Guerrero in Toronto. There's a lot of really nice players that are going to get some big paydays soon. So good for Tatis Jr. The Padres are going all in. They're banking on the fact that he's going to be a star for the next 10 years at the very least. So it's good to see the Padres get some investment in their players. We'll see if they can actually get a World Series pennant out of it. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this segment from the Hard Headed Sports Podcast. You've heard what I've had to say, now I'm interested to hear what you think as well. If you enjoyed this highlight from the show and want to watch more highlights from the show as they come out after the show's completion, you should definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you're interested in listening to the entire show in its full-length entirety, you should follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all very soon.